It was a hot Sunday morning. My wife, my son, and I were driving on a crowded highway. We wanted to visit my cousin in another city. First, we felt excited about the trip. We talked, listened to music, and enjoyed the morning together. But after some time, the traffic became worse. Cars moved very slowly. Sometimes we stopped for many minutes and moved only a few meters. Drivers looked tired and impatient. Some people used their horns loudly. Motorcycles tried to pass through every small space between cars. Inside our car, the mood slowly changed. My son was driving carefully, but I could see tension on his face. My wife looked quietly out the window. I checked the time again and again. "We are very late," I said. "I know," my son answered softly. The air inside the car felt heavy. We had already been stuck in traffic for more than 1 hour. I started feeling irritated and tired. Then suddenly, we heard a loud sound. Bang! The whole car shook slightly. "What was that?" my wife shouted. My son stopped the car carefully. For 1 second, nobody understood what happened. Then we saw a motorcycle beside us. A man had fallen onto the road. "Oh no!" I said quickly. We all got out of the car. My heart was beating fast. The motorcyclist slowly stood up. He looked shocked and nervous. His motorcycle was lying on one side. "Are you okay?" my wife asked him. Yes, I'm okay," he replied. Then we looked at our car. The rear tire was badly damaged. The metal side bar from the motorcycle had cut deeply into the tire. Air was escaping quickly with a long hissing sound. PSSSSSSSS. My first feeling was anger. We had already spent so much time in terrible traffic, and now we had another big problem. I wanted to complain immediately. I wanted to ask the man why he was driving carelessly. My mind became full of frustration. Why was he trying to squeeze into such a small space? I thought angrily. The motorcyclist walked toward us slowly. "I'm very sorry," he said. "I didn't see the space clearly." My son stayed quiet, but I could feel his stress too. The man took some money from his pocket and held it out carefully. "I can help pay a little," he said softly. It was clearly not enough money to repair the tire. For a moment, I almost lost control of my temper. I wanted to shout. I wanted to argue with him right there on the highway. Around us, traffic continued moving slowly. Drivers looked at us while passing by. Horns sounded everywhere. The whole situation felt tense and uncomfortable. Then something unexpected happened inside me. I stopped myself. I looked at the man again. He was not rude or aggressive. He looked embarrassed and afraid. Maybe he was also having a difficult day. I took a deep breath. Arguing would not repair the tire. Arguing would not remove the traffic. Arguing would only create more stress for everyone. My son looked at me quietly, waiting to see my reaction. I stayed silent for a few seconds. Then I finally said, "It's okay. Please be more careful next time." The motorcyclist looked surprised. "Thank you, sir," he said quietly. He picked up his motorcycle and left slowly. My wife looked at me with surprise. "You're very calm today," she said. I smiled a little. "Maybe I'm too tired to fight," I joked. But inside, I knew something important had happened. I had felt anger very strongly, but I chose not to follow it. Now we faced another problem. How could we change the tire in the middle of such heavy traffic? Cars were packed closely together, and there was almost no safe space beside the road. My son checked the tire carefully. "We can't change it here," he said. "So what should we do?" my wife asked. We looked around. Far ahead, we could see a small open area near the roadside, but it was still far away. Finally, we made a difficult decision. "We keep driving slowly," my son said. It sounded risky, but we had no better choice. We got back into the car. The damaged tire made terrible sounds as we moved forward slowly. Thump, thump, thump. The car felt unstable. My son drove very carefully. At first, nobody talked much. Every sound from the tire reminded us about the accident. I looked outside the window and thought quietly about what had happened. Part of me still felt upset, but another part of me felt lighter. If we had argued with the motorcyclist, what would happen now? We would probably still feel angry. Maybe we would still be standing on the road shouting at each other. Maybe more people would gather around us. Maybe the whole situation would become even worse. Instead, we were moving forward. Slowly and carefully, but forward. After many stressful minutes, we finally found a small roadside tire shop. An old mechanic came outside and looked at the damaged tire. "That's bad," he said. "Yes," my son answered with a tired smile. The mechanic helped us remove the tire. His small shop was simple, but he worked quickly and carefully. While waiting, we sat quietly nearby. The loud traffic noise now felt far away. A soft wind moved through the trees beside the road. For the first time that day, I started to relax a little. Soon, the mechanic finished replacing the tire. "Now you can drive safely again," he said. "Thank you very much," I replied. We returned to the car. Our trip was delayed almost 2 hours, but something inside us had changed. The anger slowly disappeared. My wife started talking about a restaurant nearby. "I heard they have delicious noodle soup," she said. My son laughed softly. "After today, I think I can eat anything." Soon we were smiling again. The road ahead no longer felt so terrible. And deep inside, I realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes one moment of anger can ruin an entire day. But sometimes one small decision not to react can save it. After we left the tire shop, the road became smoother. Traffic was still heavy, but at least the car felt safe again. My son stretched his shoulders while driving. "I was very worried before," he admitted. "I know," I said gently. "You stayed surprisingly calm," my wife added. I laughed softly. "To be honest, I wanted to get angry," I said. "Very angry." My son smiled. I could see that. For a moment, we all laughed together. The tension inside the car slowly disappeared. The sun was still bright outside, but now everything felt lighter. Trees moved gently in the wind beside the road. Small shops and food stands appeared along the highway. Then my wife pointed ahead. "Look," she said. "That restaurant must be the one I heard about." The sign outside was simple. Many cars and motorcycles were parked nearby. "That means the food is probably good," my son said. We decided to stop for lunch. As soon as we entered the restaurant, delicious smells filled the air. Fresh soup, grilled meat, garlic, and spices made us suddenly realize how hungry we were. The restaurant was crowded but warm and friendly. Families sat together talking happily. Workers were carrying bowls of hot noodles and plates of rice. A waitress welcomed us with a smile. "Table for 3?" she asked. "Yes, please," my wife answered. We sat near a window. For the first time since morning, we truly relaxed. The waitress brought cold water first. I drank quickly. "That tastes amazing," I said. My son laughed. "Maybe because your stress is finally gone." We ordered noodle soup, grilled chicken, vegetables, and tea. While waiting for the food, we started talking normally again. Not about the accident. Not about the tire. Not about the delay. Instead, we talked about small things. My wife told a funny story about our neighbor's dog. My son talked about music he liked recently. I shared memories from old family trips many years ago. Little by little, the bad mood disappeared completely. Then the food arrived. The soup smelled wonderful. Steam rose from the bowls. The grilled chicken looked golden and crispy. My son took one bite and closed his eyes dramatically. "This is the best food in the world," he said. We all laughed again. Maybe the food was not truly the best in the world. But after such a stressful morning, it felt special. As we ate, I noticed something interesting. Just 1 hour earlier, everything felt terrible. I was angry. My son was tense. The whole day seemed ruined. But now we were sitting together peacefully, enjoying lunch and smiling again. The situation itself had not changed much. The tire was still damaged earlier. We still lost 2 hours. We were still late. But emotionally, everything was different. And the reason was simple. We did not continue feeding the anger. I looked around the restaurant quietly. At another table, a father was arguing loudly with his teenage son. Both looked upset. Nobody at the table was enjoying the meal anymore. That scene reminded me of something important. Anger spreads very quickly. One angry person can change the feeling of an entire room. But calmness can spread too. When one person chooses peace, others often become calmer as well. Maybe that was what happened inside our car. If I had shouted at the motorcyclist earlier, maybe my son would stay angry too. Maybe my wife would feel nervous the whole afternoon. Maybe we would continue talking about the accident again and again during the trip. Instead, we allowed the moment to end. And because of that, a difficult morning slowly became a normal day again. After lunch, we ordered tea. The restaurant became quieter as some customers left. Outside, the traffic moved slowly under the afternoon sun. My wife looked at me and smiled. "You know," she said, "I'm proud of you today." "Why?" I asked. "You usually react faster," she answered honestly. She was right. In the past, I often reacted immediately when something went wrong, especially during stressful situations. If someone drove badly, I became angry. If the plans changed suddenly, I became frustrated. If people acted carelessly, I wanted answers. Sometimes I believed anger would solve the problem faster. But most of the time, anger only created more problems. I remembered many old situations. Arguments that lasted too long. Words spoken too quickly. Moments that damaged relationships for days or weeks. And usually, after the anger passed, the original problem still remained. The memory made me quiet for a moment. My son noticed. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "I'm thinking about how many difficult moments become worse because people cannot stop reacting," I said. He nodded slowly. "That's true." Then he added something simple but wise. "When people are angry, they only want to win." His words stayed in my mind. Winning an argument often feels important in the moment. But later, peace usually matters more. The waitress returned with the bill. As we prepared to leave, I noticed something surprising. I felt grateful. Not grateful for the accident, of course, but grateful for the lesson hidden inside it. Sometimes life gives us small tests without warning. A traffic jam, a broken tire,
À rude comment?
a mistake from another person. In those moments, we often think the situation controls us. But maybe that is not completely true. Maybe we still have a choice. Not a choice about what happened, but a choice about what happens next. Outside the restaurant, the air felt cooler now. We walked back to the car slowly. The new tire looked strong and safe. My son opened the driver's door and smiled. "Ready for the rest of the adventure?" he asked playfully. "Yes," I answered with a smile. And this time I truly meant it. After lunch, we continued our journey. The traffic was finally getting better. Cars moved more smoothly, and the sky looked brighter than before. Inside the car, the atmosphere felt completely different now. Earlier that day, we had been stressed, tired, and frustrated. But now we felt peaceful again. My son turned on some soft music while driving. My wife looked outside the window and smiled at the green fields beside the road. I sat quietly and thought about everything that had happened. It was strange how quickly emotions could change. Just a few hours earlier, I had almost shouted at a stranger on the highway. I had felt anger rising strongly inside me. At that moment, reacting angrily felt natural, felt justified. But now, looking back calmly, I understood something important. If I had reacted differently, the entire day would have changed. We might have spent a long time arguing on the road. My son might have stayed stressed and nervous for the rest of the trip. My wife might have felt upset the whole afternoon. Even after the tire was repaired, the anger could have continued living inside us. Sometimes anger does not end when the situation ends. Sometimes people carry it for hours, days, or even years. They replay painful moments again and again in their minds. They continue feeling hurt long after the problem is already finished. I realized I had done that many times in my own life. I remembered old arguments from years ago. I remembered moments when I refused to let go of small problems. At the time, I thought I was protecting my pride or proving I was right. But often, I was only hurting myself and the people around me. My son suddenly spoke while driving. "Dad," he said, "I learned something today." "What did you learn?" I asked. He smiled slightly. "That staying calm is actually very powerful." His words touched me deeply. Many people think calmness is weakness. They think strong people must react loudly and defend themselves immediately. But true calmness is not weakness at all. Sometimes it takes more strength to stay calm than to become angry. Takes control. Takes understanding. Takes wisdom. The road ahead stretched peacefully under the afternoon sun. We rolled down the windows slightly, and cool air entered the car. The sound of the wind felt relaxing. My wife looked at both of us and smiled warmly. "I think we will remember this trip for a long time," she said. "Probably because of the broken tire," my son joked. We all laughed together again. But deep inside, I knew the lesson was bigger than the accident itself. Life will always bring unexpected problems. Traffic jams, mistakes, delays, difficult people, disappointments. None of us can fully avoid these things. They are part of being human. But maybe peace does not come from controlling everything around us. Maybe peace comes from learning how to respond when things go wrong. That day taught me something simple but important. Between what happens to us and how we react, there is a small space. In that small space, we make a choice. Sometimes that choice changes everything that comes after. As the sun slowly moved lower in the sky, we continued driving together peacefully. The stress was gone. The anger was gone. The bad moment had passed naturally, just like clouds passing through the sky. And somehow, an ordinary day that almost became terrible had found its way back to happiness again.